How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting, and welcome back to Knights of the Republic 2, the Sith Lords. We're doing our Civilized Run, which again has now just evolved into a overpowered force building, overpowered force build. It was really a struggle at first, but we're pretty much just playing the game now. But that's okay. We're actually getting pretty close towards the ending. Like, we have a lot more steps to do, but we've gathered every companion, we've visited nearly every planet, and we're about to start triggering the end game. In fact, we're gonna essentially trigger the events of the end game after the next planet. Like, we'll wrap it up, we should get back on the ship, and it should fire essentially what will be end game. So I've kind of gone through my mind, tried to make sure I've done everything I can think of that we really need to get done so far. I looked through, and there's nearly no like leftover quests that I haven't completed or are just not completable for whatever reason. Like, for instance, the speeder on Nar Shaddaa, I was gathering pieces to reconstruct it. I have all the pieces. Unfortunately, when you trigger the whole bounty hunter war and everything, you can't actually repair the speeder anymore, which really sucks because like it's cool to be able to do, and you get a lot of like experience for it, but whatever. Anyway, we've also seen a lot of really interesting hints of stuff that I'm not that familiar with, which is where Krea's kind of messing with Disciple, which is kind of cool because Krea's manipulation of Handmaiden, which is the character you get if you're a male protagonist, is really subtle and kind of last second. So being able to see her being a lot more like forceful, not just with Atten, but with Disciple, it actually feels a lot more canonical, and I think that's probably why when they decided to canonize it, they did decide to make the Exile be canonically female. But I didn't choose it for that. I simply chose it because I thought it was very appealing to have this Joan of Arc-like character, and so yeah, we're gonna go with her. And speaking of where we're going, time for us to jump to the star map, and we're gonna go to a terrifying place.
We've hit the ground. This is Korriban. Why would one of the Jedi you're looking for come here?
An adequate job, pilot. Perhaps here there is some trace of those who pursue us. I sense that we may be truly alone on the surface.
There are signs of life on the surface. Beasts by the dozen. So don't worry. You won't be quite as lonesome as she makes out. You might want to keep your, lightsaber sharp. Or do whatever you do in these situations.
Although I think that the pilot's mechanical devices are probably accurate. If there are Sith here, their numbers are few and they are hidden.
It seems quiet. Just the wind. But deep beneath the surface, you can feel the pain of what took place here. This place merely tolerates sentience walking upon it. It is pleased to have been left alone. There is great power here for those with the ambition to use it. There is great power in this place, for those who can hear its call.
There is much that would draw a Jedi to this place. The resting grounds of the ancient and more recently departed Sith contain many teachings believed lost. The most likely place to find our lost Jedi is the ruins of the old Academy.
What happened here?
It was said that Revan intended to return to Korriban to subdue any potential Sith insurgents. But Revan disappeared. It took a year or two for the Republic to send a force here to deal with any Sith that may have remained. They found Korriban much as we have, barren and lifeless. It was assumed that the remnants of the Sith turned on each other, vying for what little power remained. The Republic found evidence that several Sith Lords escaped Korriban, fleeing to remote sections of the galaxy.
Do you think there are living Sith here?
As lifeless as it seems, the dark side is very strong here. The Sith Lords would not ignore such a powerful place. There is much that can be learned, even here. You should go to the ruins of the old Academy. If there are any traces here of Sith, that is where they would be.
Alright, let's head up then.
If you walk Korriban's surface, you shall walk it without me.
You won't come with me?
I cannot. This place is strong with the dark side. It is difficult to center myself here. Korriban holds few secrets from me, but much that you should learn.
Very well. Stay here and keep the engines primed in case we need to leave quickly.
I will remain here and meditate. Our link remains. I shall contact you and provide guidance when needed. The Academy is on the other side of this valley. Be careful. Dark energy fills these ruins, and even the fallen Sith live still.
Alright. So, a suitable entry to a very disturbing place. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to do a little history, just of Korriban. Well, actually, no, let's go outside first. I'll do the history lesson when we get here, because there's a lot of cool information that the game won't talk about. Alright, so who do we take with us? This is an interesting one, because I don't really know. We've pretty much got everyone we can influenced. I guess I've influenced Mandalore a little bit, which is really weird. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the influencing of Mandalore is something that was added with the DLC, because I've never seen him with a blue background before, ever. But hey, whatever. So the choices here is either Atton, Visas, or Disciple. Visas is really interesting because she comes from training and living with a Sith, so her perspective could be interesting, but again, I also don't know if she'll even say much. Disciple, he's really interested in the history, so he could have some insights, and again, I haven't played with him before, so I don't really know much of what he's got. But then Atton actually worked with Revan, so it could be really telling to see what he would think of the Revan, like, cycle, and, you know, what remains. So I think I would probably lean towards Atton and Visas, personally. I know Disciple might have some cool stuff here, but I don't know if I need that. I want to see Atton and Visas. Oh, the music here. The sound effects are so good.
The structures you see around you are the plundered tombs of the ancient Sith Lords. Each tomb was once infused with the history
I see some
and
friends.
heritage of the old Sith Empire, containing great mysteries and powerful relics of the Force. However, even the many traps could not long hold back the curious, the fools, and the weak, and so these tombs fell, spilling their secrets into the hands of those unable to comprehend or preserve them.
Yep, here we are. So, brief lesson, and then I'm going to get to leveling up, and we're going to jump into just everything. So, from the first game, you'll recall, we came here, there was a Sith Academy, and plundering the tombs, there's a whole, like, thing about, like, you know, getting in, getting prizes, and getting prestige so you don't get executed, and actually gain the title of a Sith. Really interesting and stuff, but that really scratched the surface of the Sith lore. Korriban was the planet where the original Sith species, which is a red-skinned, like, species, lived. They were just normal, but they had a tendency towards more violent actions. They had a very strong warrior culture, and they were spacefaring. They had, like, probably what we would call modern technology, but they hadn't achieved true spaceflight and no hyperdrives or anything. When ancient Dark Jedi, when the original, like, Jedi Sith War occurred, like the original rift that happened way back. It's actually implied that, like, they're going to explore that more readily in newer content. When they fled, they ended up unintentionally coming to Korriban and crashing essentially here. They were taken in by the populace. The population found themselves very intrigued by their powers, but it turned out that the Sith people were very strongly Force sensitive. They kind of manipulated it, but it was something that they had always had as a part of them. So they didn't have, like, a sects of, like, oh, some are Jedi, some aren't, because it was just so prevalent, almost everybody could use it at least a little bit, but there was no real training or structure to it. So these Dark Jedi then taught them how to achieve Force focus and develop powers, but specifically the dark side. The Sith incorporated it into their culture, including the very, like, and they kind of wrote what is now called the Sith Code. this idea of power over power trumps prestige, and power, like the strongest shall survive, the weakest shall fall, and that determines who should lead. It was kind of a dynamic power structure that the Sith had as part of their government. Anyway, you could almost consider the original Sith being similar to Klingon from Star Trek. Just very warrior culture based, and might makes right. And then you add the kind of meditative properties of like Jedi teachings, and you get what became the Sith and the Sith philosophies and the Sith powers. They ended up having massive wars, and they ended up actually spreading from this planet and starting to attack people with human descendants, because a lot of the Jedi were human who came, and they ended up kind of having their own population that kind of intermixed with and just was a part of the Sith culture after that. They ended up going out, attacking the Jedi. It had a big war. It was the first like Jedi-Sith war, because before it was just Jedi Dark Jedi, and then it became Jedi-Sith officially. But the Jedi destroyed them and actually drove them away from Korriban. Like they had to flee the planet, and the planet I think used to be a lot more lush, a lot more like bountiful, but after the war became pretty much just a pure desert land, hard to live in. They fled, but then they ended up coming back and reconquering it later, and that's the beginning of and that's going to be something that happens in the very near future of this timeline. That's where like the stuff that's been going on in the background, where they've been implying that like there was something beyond, some forces beyond, some power beyond that corrupted Revan, and Revan was trying to somehow prepare for, is the actual Sith Empire, the Sith as a people. They are out there, and they're preparing to try and come back. And the first thing they do when they return is reclaim Korriban, which is their ancient homeworld. So this is like the calm before that nightmare, which I think is supposed to come about 50 to 80 years after this game. But we'll talk about like how that plays out towards the end. But that's your basic history lesson of what this planet is and why it matters. Now I'm going to level up the characters, and we're going to run around, and I believe we're going to be able to go look at each of the tombs and talk to Kreia about them and go fight those HKs. So be right back. Alright, now to begin.
Ahead lies the tomb of Naga Sadow, successor to Marka Ragnos, and the Sith Lord responsible for nearly conquering the Republic in the Great Hyperspace War a millennia ago.
Tell me more.
More recently, this tomb was where Revan confronted Uthar Vin, the leader of the Sith Academy. When Revan left Korriban, the Sith Academy was thrown into turmoil. With their leader gone, many fought for the right to rule. And so, the Sith here turned on each other, resulting in the carnage you can see covering the surface of this valley.
That's the great flaw of the Sith, is that while might makes right is a decent philosophy for like just developing a very clear hierarchy very quickly, it also leads to so much backstabbing in fighting and just self-sabotage that it becomes almost impossible to sustain, especially if you have pressure from enemies that you're going to be driven to find because of your warrior culture. Very, very interesting dynamic, and why the Sith kind of were always doomed to fail without like the really massive shakeups that were the two doctrine. Like I can't remember what it's why there's only two Sith. That essentially is the super Sith like stealth doctrine. And eventually Palpatine, who kind of really shook things up. The other thing is Naga Sadow. Okay, so Great Hyperspace War, that was like, if I remember correctly, the Hyperspace War is the first war that was led by Dark Jedi and the actual Sith race against the Republic. I'm not 100% on that. I think that's what I'm recalling that correctly.
This was the tomb of Tulak Hord, known as the greatest lightsaber duelist of the Sith Lords.
Tell me more.
His skill was considered remarkable even in his time, when many true lightsaber masters lived.
What made him so good?
That is unknown, but supposedly he created a holocron to teach his technique to other Sith. The holocron would have been laid to rest in his tomb. Unfortunately, Tulak Hord's tomb was among the first penetrated by the grave robbers of the new Sith Order. If the holocron has survived, I doubt anyone living would know its location.
I believe this is the first reference to many of the stories in like Star Wars Legends. Well, it used to be just the expanded universe. But like I think there was a book series with Luke Skywalker that talked about like that holocron that was about like lightsaber techniques and develops like into what became the foundation for new lightsaber training after the fall of the old Jedi and the rebirth of the new Jedi under Luke Skywalker.
The broken corpses before you are all that remain of the Sith on Korriban.
Gross.
I doubt there is much to be gained from looting these bodies. It would be best to leave them be.
She literally gets mad at you, I think, if you search them, but there's really no point. Like, I don't, if I recall correctly, there's literally nothing of value on them, and she just kind of scolds you by being like, wow, you're such an idiot. Like, I asked you a favor, just leave them.
This way leads to the tomb of Ajunta Paul, a fierce Sith Lord. According to legend, the blade proved more fearsome than the master, leading to his demise.
Tell me more.
Ajunta's dark spectre lived on through the centuries until Revan entered the Sith Lord's tomb in search of the blade. Revan calmed the angry ghost of Ajunta Paul and showed him the path back to the light.
If you remember, we did that. I can't actually know. That's what's supposed to happen, but actually, I think we actually killed him. Because again, Killy the Bid, he was not a good Jedi. He was not necessarily the worst evil Jedi. He absolutely did not do all the right stuff, though, even though he got the absolute good ending. So we're seeing that weird juxtaposition here. But yeah, like if you like when it assumes you follow the good path, you go in and you get that. But either way, you get the blade if you do it properly, which is a strong blade. Like it typically was stronger than most lightsabers. You sound like you disapprove.
One who has fallen so far and done so much evil does not deserve redemption. In a way, such a turning from one's nature is cowardly, a betrayal of the self.
I definitely don't agree with Kreia here because the whole nature of consciousness means that we are allowed to change. Like, you can't, like, it's actually kind of the foundation of cancel culture is exactly what she's describing here, is this idea that, like, we have a natural tendency to be a certain way, that we, like, if we turn away from that, we're just betraying ourselves and being weak. It's like, no, like, that's not how that works. Like, you can learn and grow as a person. And Ajunta Paul, even though it was, like, after he died, like, he still regretted what he did, and he wished he could change it. We only made him believe that there was no point holding on to that despair and to, like, allow himself to move on. So I don't think that's weakness. I think it's human. And I think it's actually weakness to assume that when people change and stop doing one thing and try and be better or even do worse, like when people change from what they were, you can't just hold them to what they were and uphold like what they once were and say that this is their truth, this is what they really are. Like maybe it was at a time, but that can change. And I think it's not fair. I don't know, it's just not fair. Let's see. It's like good or evil, but no one's beneath redemption, Kreia, no one.
Perhaps. But redemption is a form of spiritual collapse, a fall few recover from.
What became of the blade?
Unknown. Some have suggested that the blade led to Revan's demise, as it did Ajunta Paul. That is only speculation, however. Where Revan wanders now is knowledge that only Revan holds.
Light side gained and influence gained Kreia. That's surprising. I thought that you were going to lose that. But it actually makes sense because if she actually believed what she said, well, she doesn't, because as you learn and when you really dig into her personality and the choices she'd made, it's very clear that she doesn't believe that like one's nature is locked permanently into a certain state. In fact, she would argue that no one can be locked into a certain state because there's no such thing as states. Everyone is just them. And trying to reduce everything to black and white defeats the purpose of actually examining and like exploring thoughts and feelings.
Before you is the tomb of the great Sith Lord, Marka Ragnos, a half-breed who possessed tremendous strength, both physically and in the Force.
Now, I think when it says half-breed, like, it was just implied that he was half human, half something else to make him big and strong, but I think later it's been errata to say that he was half pure Sith, half human, like, proving that they could, like, intermix, because then the later argument became that pure Sith was not even a thing anymore, that they'd intermingled so much with human that like there really wasn't a pure Sith specimen anymore. Because in the Old Republic game, there's a lot of vying talking about the purity of one's blood, see how pure Sith they were, and they would compare. It's very similar to like the pure blood system in Harry Potter. But the idea that also is so funny in there is the fact that like there's no such thing as pure, and like if you try to purify it to the point of inbreeding, then you're gonna backpedal into just insanity, which absolutely happens. I actually cover that by some characters that you meet in the Old Republic who are so affected by corrupted genes of inbreeding that they, you know, it's a thing. It's really interesting that they go for that. Marka Ragnos, though, is the villain, and essentially the power behind the villain in one of my favorite games growing up, which is Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Tell me more.
Ragnos held power for over a century, using his cunning to turn his enemies against each other. His death left a great vacuum of power. We're standing close to the spot where Naga Sadow first confronted Ludo Kresh to vie for domination of the Sith. Their struggle nearly resulted in a civil war that would have torn the Sith apart before they ever threatened the Republic.
Sounds like civil wars are common among the Sith. Again, it's a flaw of their culture, unfortunately.
Yes, it is the way of the Sith. They must continually test their strength against each other, even if it means destroying themselves.
So what happened between Sadow and Kresh?
As fate would have it, a pair of hyperspace explorers from Sinagar landed on Korriban. Naga Sadow manipulated the Sith into believing they were a sign of impending Republic invasion.
Hence the Great Hyperspace War.
This fear resonated with many Sith who were discontent with the lack of expansion of the Sith Empire during the reign of Marka Ragnos. Thus, Naga Sadow became Ragnos' successor.
There you go. So there's some cool history. Now we've done all the history lessons, let's go kill some robots. And then I think we either do the Academy and then the cave, or we have to do the cave first and then the Academy. One of the two. Probably the Academy first now that I think about it. Or they'll just save it. Oh my gosh, he knocked me down. I admit, that was shockingly effective. I forgot, like, I'm really, really strong, but this is the final planet. They're not going to be pushovers here, no matter who we're fighting. By the way, I'm going to sell this right now. This planet is pretty much just daisy chains of fights, so from here on out, we're going to cut a lot. I'm going to be running around either in the Academy, there might be some puzzles I'll showcase in there, and in the cave, there's a really proper important sequence at the end that you're probably going to see in the entirety of, but pretty much between those points, it's all going to get cut, because it's boring, because it's just grind fest. Not that it's bad, but I guarantee you there's not much going to be happening here, just besides killing stuff.
Ah, what's that stench?
Listen, the wind from the cave tells of great power within, recently awakened.
Yes, a great, powerful stench.
I'm glad I brought that in.
There is great power and dark energy within this cave. I would advise you to finish your explorations within the Academy before venturing into the cave.
Gotcha. So, Academy first, then cave. Oh, but of course, we can't just be left alone. We have to fight. We have to fight stuff that's also coming at us.
Looks like somebody left the doors of the Academy wide open. I have a bad feeling about this.
They added it.
Open on purpose. Someone is expecting us.
You can expect more than these beasts within the Academy. Be prepared.
She is here. Find her.
Oh boy. Here in this room. There's the Jedi we came here to find.
Oh, yes. I felt this Jedi's death shortly after we arrived on Korriban.
So this is who we came here to find? Looks like this has been a big, dangerous waste of time.
She died when we got here. We were that close. Bash, she was a member of the Jedi Council. Okay. Datapad Lona Vesh. Journal found Lona Vesh. I found the Sith that I came to Korriban looking for. I'm no fool, but I fell nastily into their trap. Their leader, Darth Sion, is a perversion of the dark side, such as I've never seen before. Though he was cunning enough to capture me, he seems otherwise to be a volatile brute, and therefore should be easily coerced. If I keep my... I'm scrolling up. If I keep my wits about me, I have no doubt I will escape the situation. Before I was captured, I managed to create a system account under my name in the council room that will allow me to open the back door to the valley. And I got a short lightsaber. I can start getting at in his lightsabers now. I think he'll be okay with his pistols for the minute, but... Alright. Alright, enter Lana Vesh. Open the front door. Here we go.
Did you come here for answers? There are none.
Look at this dude.
The call of Korriban is strong, but it is the call of the dead. I have studied you, immersed myself in you. I know the paths you walked in exile. I know your teacher. I know the fires that raged upon the Dux and Moon while the Republic died around you. You know war. You know battle. And I know of Malachor. You know what it means to be broken. The one who travels with you will destroy you, as she did me. I can end it before it begins.
What do you know of Kreia?
I know her as an apprentice knows their master, and as a master knows an apprentice.
What does Kreia want with me?
She clings to hope that perhaps she can train one as great as her first. She is a fool who escaped death once. She will not do so again.
I will not let you harm her.
But you do not know her as I do. You have not survived her teachings as I have, and you have not bested her in battle as I have. You are nothing. Yet still she walks with you, is willing to sacrifice herself for you. You are a wretched thing, a thing of weakness and fear. You are her apprentice in name only. I am the master.
If you were such a master,
why you will die.
Why would he be taking this all so personal? Alright, let's see. Oh, I've been stunned. I need to heal quickly.
More where that came from.
I'm so weak. Oh my gosh. Don't die.
You are no match for us to battle. A weakness is revealed.
Scion. He cannot be defeated. He is not a beast of flesh and blood. This is not a battle that can be won. Flee.
Now you tell me? Anything else you want to share?
There will be another time, but it is not now, not here, while Korriban runs through him.
Then we flee, because we cannot best him.
Do not harm her. I command it. She has earned this. She and I will meet again.
So we actually got a modicum of respect by not dying right away, although it was close. You forget how much of a glass cannon I can be, because most of the time, most things just can't touch me. But if they can run up and actually hit me, it's painful. But it just means I need to get a little better, because he's beating my my checks, and I need to correct that, because otherwise I'm going to have a rough time. I thought I'd actually made it impossible for that to happen, but I'm surprised yet again. Alright, now into the Cave of Destinies. This one's gonna take a long time before it gets interesting, trust me. It's a lot of exploration and not a lot here. Kiss this. There we go. Look at these things. They're little dragons. Okay, they're not as tough as I remember them being. I remember them being nightmares. I think I have to fight one on my own, though. And if you're not built properly, they can be real nasty. Alright, so now, I finally got through all the combat. You probably didn't see any of that. I bet you I was either rambling like I normally do, but you're not going to see a lick of it because there's nothing really of substance there. But we're going to go through here. And we're going to go through a trial where we're going to be doing a lot of introspection into the character of Joan of Arc Light. Now, obviously, I have an idea of a character in mind, but I wonder if it's going to match up with what you guess would happen. And there are some of my favorite lines and lessons in this entire game in this section. I'm going to highlight some of them, but there's one in particular that's it always stuck with me after this game. And I think it's really an important one, but let's go to it.
The power I felt coming through the cave is just ahead. I believe you are strong enough to explore the tomb ahead. This tomb has not been plundered. Its mysteries may still be intact, but so might its traps. Take great caution.
What is that? Can't go any further.
I sense a great presence within this tomb. Master, it calls to you.
You will have to face the challenges of this tomb alone. Are you ready?
I will go alone. I got Adam, he's like, I can't go in there. He just looked at it, he's just like, I can't. There's a reason I can't go in there. But yeah, this is kind of our Luke Skywalker cave sequence. Oh, look, there's Bastila.
Do not heed the words of the Jedi Council. The Republic will fall if we do not act now. Already the Mandalorians have taken 3 systems along the Rim. They will only grow more powerful with time. Come stand with me. We will use our might to help the Republic in its time of need. Join Revan and I. Together we will battle this menace.
I've been here. This is when you recruited me for the Mandalorian War.
The Jedi Council is wise, but will take too long to deal with this threat. We must act now to stop the Mandalorians. I have heard of you. Your masters speak well of you, of your skills in battle. Join us.
I joined without hesitation, against the will of the Council.
The Jedi Council is wise, but can make mistakes. History has proven this, time and time again. The Council seems content to watch, to debate, while entire systems fall to the Mandalorians. If we don't act now, there may be no Republic army to assist in the future. I sense you will join us. What are your reasons?
I am going to take this seriously. Joan of Arc Light would, I think. She's not, because if this were Kelly the Bit, he'd be like, this is just a vision, it's stupid, don't worry about it. But she's going to go through it. Let's see. Because the thing, it's interesting, because it was a mistake that haunts her, but at the same time, she still thinks it wasn't she had to do it, and that despite how horrible it was and the terrible things that happened, she knows that she was able to save lives. I couldn't sit by while so many suffered.
A good reason. Delay would have brought ruin, and there was much suffering. You had to act. It was within our power to end the war, and the Council chose to debate behind closed doors while planets burned.
Let's see. We never gave them a chance to reveal their plan.
Their vaunted wisdom bred only in action. and that would have led to destruction greater than anything born of the dark side. So, if you could do it all again, the real question is, would you? The Mandalorians await on the edge of space, eager to crush the Republic. You know how this turns out.
It's like I think we're talking to ourselves.
Knowing what it costs you? Knowing what it costs the rest?
I wouldn't do anything differently. My choices made me the person I am today.
So knowing all that would transpire, would you still follow Revan and I? Excellent.
It is weird Bastila is here.
And now you are all alone. Would you join me now? You didn't follow Revan and I down our path. Join us. Your journey hasn't ended yet.
Wait, Bastila didn't join you. She warned us all to obey the Jedi Council.
She didn't join us that day. But in time, she came to our way of thinking. And even before then, she wavered and wondered what would have happened. It is a familiar path. There were those who wished to follow you to war, yet remain behind. They came to hate you for the choices they wished to make.
That's such a human thing. It really is like, and they say that like they've actually done, like studies suggest that people who are the most violently homophobic wrestle internally with with same-sex attraction. Like they feel it, they can sense it, but they try and deny it and bury it, and so they respond violently with like hatred towards those who do express it, because out of a sense of betrayal, out of a sense of like, why can't I do that? Why do I feel so guilty? Why would I lose so much if I did what you did? I didn't follow you then, and I certainly won't now.
Are you so certain? Every step along the way, we did what we thought was right. Perhaps the same path lays before you, but the time of words are done. Now it is time you experienced the full power of the dark side.
That's the thing, is that Joan, she followed in the war. She did what she wanted to do for the war, but she never fell to the dark side. That's the idea. It's like, she never followed Revan and Malak to follow Revan and Malak. She went to fight in the war because she wanted to protect people. Die, Revan. Not bad. Not bad. Okay, so I thought I knew everything about this game, but I've learned something new. My force points aren't regenerating, and it turns out they don't regenerate during this trial. I thought I kind of knew that, and so that's why I saved the level up. But when I leveled up, it didn't restore my force points, which must be a fix that they did in the update. So now I'm actually really nervous because like that's my best thing. I suddenly don't have access to. So yeah, we're gonna see how that plays out. I'm not sure if I can manage this now.
Com says we've lost another heavy droid transport. How can we break through the Mandalorian lines without support? The path is mined and the place is crawling with enemies. I know we've got our orders to press forward, but we're at quarter strength. We can't, General. It's impossible. We need to retreat.
This is Duxon, the heart of the Mandalorian Crusade.
We know, General, but we just don't have enough men to accomplish our objective, no matter how important. We already lost half the men just getting to the path. They've got the rest of the company pinned down by the crash site. You can't possibly ask the troops to go forward. If you ask us to charge, will it make a difference? Will our sacrifice mean something?
Only Revan could answer that. Even afterwards, no one could piece together exactly what happened. We won, though.
We will press forward if you ask it. The path is mined. If you ask us to charge, there will be losses, General.
I stand by my decision. At the time, that was the right thing to do. Which is true. Like, when you're in war, it's unfortunate that there are times where you have to ask soldiers, and soldiers will have to be asked to have to do very dangerous things, and they might not be able to see the whole picture of it. And there's a really strong appreciation you have to have for that. Like, if every single person tried to be selfless or tries to, like, do whatever they can to preserve their squad at whatever cost, often can lead to greater losses and sacrifices across the entire theater. Unfortunately, you have to trust those who are in charge, and that's part of why leadership is so critical in these things.
I'll tell the men, General. Everyone, you heard the General. Charge! Charge!
I can't use force power, so I have to use my attacks. Tried draining force to see if it would help, but he saved it. Oh, I got force powers back. Okay, good. We're saved. Oh, thank goodness we're saved. Oh, I thought I was in real trouble there. Ah. Alright, here we go. I think this is the last trial, or at least one of them. Let's see if I can survive.
You are to be commended for making it this far.
It's good to see a friendly face in here.
You've revisited the dark moments of your past, and now you must face the present.
She definitely looks a little scarier. Oh, I get it. This is another vision. You're not really Kreia.
Your confusion is natural. The others and I will help you understand.
The others?
Get away from her! She's a dark Jedi.
Why do you say that?
Atten, I've had enough of your snide contempt.
Whoa! And she's got a blue lightsaber, that's interesting. Despite our differences, we need to work together.
Hey, what's the commotion here?
Stay out of this, bao-dur. This is a personal dispute between Atten and myself.
You're threatening Atten with a lightsaber, and I'm supposed to just stay out of it? No.
Oh. Everybody, put away your weapons. Even T3 is here.
The three of you would challenge me? You sorely underestimate the power of the Force.
Think again, Kreia.
Oh,
Your
it's
dark
everyone.
Influence will end.
Your friends are all arrayed against me. Will you stand for this?
My friends are right, Kreia. You have been manipulating me from the very beginning.
You, of all people, would judge me so? Am I not worthy of redemption?
You are right, Kreia. I will defend you so that you may live to pursue redemption. Interesting. So yeah, there's a line there you can do. Okay. Alright. So this is the true path. This is what she chose. I'm gonna save that, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you what the my favorite line is. So if we say something like this, you're all just visions anyway, it doesn't matter what I do.
So you will do nothing?
This.
Apathy is death. Worse than death. Because at least a rotting corpse feeds the beasts and insects.
Apathy is death.
Apathy is death. Apathy is death.
Apathy is death.
Statement. Apathy is death.
Apathy is death.
Apathy is death. Apathy is death.
Apathy is death.
And then they all attack you. But that line haunted me for years. Apathy is death. Apathy is death. So yeah, that's not real canon. We sided with Kreia to try and protect her, let her have a chance of redemption, even if it meant our companions had to be fought off. Not that we would kill them, but fight them off. But I love, for like when I clicked that, I just casually was picking. I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. I'll just sit back and watch what happens. Or along the lines of like, well, I want to attack you, but I won't stop my companions. And she said that, and it kind of hit really hard. I was like, oh man, that really impacts. It's like apathy is death. Not making a decision, not taking action is a choice, is an action. Inaction can actually be more powerful than action. So when there's things like injustices, when there are protests that you believe in but you don't support, like you don't go out to support or don't voice your points of view, it sucks because when you do that, you draw ire to yourself, and it can be really like, it can feel like you get attacked. People you consider your friends and family can become very angry, but at the same time, the truth is, apathy is death. If we just sit back and let the world happen, it's kind of like when you don't vote if you're in a democratic society. It's like your apathy is just allowing others to make choices for you. And you have that power to make a difference and you're choosing not to. That says volumes about yourself. And that should be something you should consider. So next time your elections roll around, the next time, whether it be like for the presidential elections, like prime minister, or your local council members, apathy is death. I almost want to make that a sticker or a t-shirt or something. It'd be so weird, but at the same time, it's like, it means a lot. It's a powerful statement. Apathy is death. And it's something to this day, I think about this scene and that line and like the fact that all your friends one by one turn to you and silently and like solemnly declare apathy is death. It's just, really important, I think, to keep in mind. But now we will finish our mission. We will go through these doors and be finished with this planet. Our final fight. Revan and ourselves fallen. Man, we look horrible. It can't be. Why are you here? Oh, I have a dual-ended lightsaber, huh? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. Oh, fetch, that was close. I can't damage her. Are we meant to, like, I think I was supposed to beat that, but I couldn't. He's like, what was that? You were supposed to win. What are you doing here, Revan? Are you the source of all these visions? I gotta fight you. Something tells me this is gonna suck. Why'd I get a dark side point? Hang on, I'm reloading. That felt wrong to me. We're trying that again. Okay, round one done. Expect to see you again, Revan, while you're here. Come on, no. Okay. Dang it! Darn it. Go on, get him.
You've succeeded in this plan. I am impressed.
I had to cheese the crap out of it! This was all a test.
The dangers you faced in this tomb were real, but these images of the past serve to prepare you for your future.
Whew. What do you know of the future?
Surely you have felt what awaits. Events are shaping themselves about you, seeking to draw you into their center.
I knew that. I guess it's true. Like, unfortunately, like, we don't have a choice. We keep getting sucked into the middle of everything. I knew it was my destiny. Greatness is in my future. Actually, no. I don't know, Cray. I felt like this tomb changed me, and not for the better.
You overestimate the power of the tomb. Any change you feel is coming from within yourself. Instinctually, you know your true path. Trust in your feelings. They will lead you in conquering the many challenges that the future holds for you.
Was I supposed to learn something specific from this?
Sometimes, a momentary insight is worth lifetimes of experience. You may not yet understand what you learned here. That wisdom will come in the future. Search the room you are in. You should be able to unlock a passage that leads outside the tomb.
Lightsaber, experience point, no dark side. I had to cheese the crap out of that fight, and I'm pretty sure I was supposed to lose a couple times in there, but because I happened to be healing, the game kind of like gave it to me. Oh my gosh, that was a nightmare. Ugh. But we did it. I don't know. I don't think you saw all the amounts of times I had to try that. But here we go. Just like the old times. Oh, it's Little Cresh's tomb. Nice. Little Cresh's war sword and his armband. Let's see what those do. Okay, 216 plus 2 damage, dark side. And it can be upgradable. That's pretty solid. But it's like this Vibro double blade, but with extra damage. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. You have to be dark side. It gives you strength and defense up. Gotcha. Oh, no one else is going to be able to wear that, unfortunately. And we're free. Well, that was fun. So the idea of being there too is it kind of mentioned how there are lots of Sith tombs that are likely buried and lost under the surface of the planet. There's a Shark over there. I'm not going to bother with it. I really don't think there's anything worth like getting in these tunnels that I haven't already seen, so I'm just going to leave. But yep, so the idea is that we just found like one of the rare tombs that hasn't been plundered at all because it was hidden, and those few that managed to find it looked like they died in their attempts to plunder it. So we managed to go in, defeat whatever was haunting that place, and now we can leave. So go to the ship. I believe we're going to be getting a message. I'll probably talk to all of my companions. If there's any interesting conversations to come up, we'll show you those. But other than that, it looks like we're about ready to be done.
Here, you can just barely see the Sith archaeologists' efforts to uncover relics of the ancients.
Tell me more.
The new Sith Order sought to progress quickly by finding objects of power. I can only imagine what was lost forever due to the carelessness of these excavators. Now the excavation has been almost completely undone by 5 years of wind and sand. So does Korriban protect its secrets.
Yep, there you go. In fact, you remember the first game, like you can actually go through there, and it is a much deeper pit. I am finally done with this place, and I am glad to be done. Holy crap. It's one of the shorter planets, but my gosh, it takes a toll. Oh, what's up? A message from Celeborn. What is it?
I received an urgent communication for you from Kavar. Return to the the camp as soon as possible and I will tell you more.
So, you got a message from Kavar. Yes, we should return to the Mandalorian camp as soon as possible.
It might be helpful if I made some changes to my remote's maintenance laser to do spot repairs.
That would be a welcome improvement. My combat effectiveness could be better sustained, providing an advantageous arrangement. And my miniature counterpart would finally be able to pull his weight in a fight.
Hey. Look on the bright side. Godo's a much bigger target.
All right then. I'll work on it when we get back to the Hawk. There. You should be able to do some quick fixes. You won't be able to perform serious repairs, but you should be able to patch up any broken droids.
Verge's remark has been upgraded with the ability to repair other droids to the party. Really cool.
You know, I think it's time I gave your cutting laser a little boost. It works fine for repairs, but we could use your help in a firefight. Don't worry about it. We'll make sure they keep you out of their scopes. Hey, it's something for Goto to be jealous of, right?
I like how there's this, like, jealousy between this tiny little remote and Goto.
You can keep Goto in line with it.
Verge's remote has been outfitted with an improved laser.
I don't understand why you won't let me take a look.
Statement. I've had quite enough tampering at the hands of unskilled meatbags such as yourself. I'm not eager to submit to this treatment now or in the future.
Unskilled meatbag? I'll show you unskilled.
Appeasement. I did not mean to imply that you were an unskilled meatbag, as incapable of performing rudimentary repairs as holding a hydrospanner.
Oh my gosh.
It is only that I am quite particular with my repairs. Perhaps when I am more confident in your abilities, I will allow you to examine my internal components.
Iridonian, if I might have a moment.
What is it, Goto?
I have spent some time in the presence of your remote, and the upgrades you have performed on him are quite adequate.
The droids are very vocal today.
I am impressed with your work, though less so with your remote itself.
What's wrong with my remote?
I find his use of resources, energy spent on frivolous things, to be an unsightly waste. But it is obvious you have some skill, however slight, in the upgrading of machines. I want you to provide me with similar upgrades.
I should be able to do something. I will see what I can do next time I have a free moment.
I didn't expect to see you awake.
I dreamt of Malachor. I remember the ships, the last stand of the Republic. The tattered remnants of our fleet, the largest we could gather. But it was damaged, weakened, and vulnerable. The Mandalorians couldn't resist. They tore into us like beasts, shredding our ships to scrap as we fought back.
Jeez,
Yet this time there were no reinforcements for either side. Revan had been delayed out-system by Mandalorian scout ships. By the time he arrived, it was too late, and beyond Malachor there were no more Mandalorians left to die. I remember standing on the bridge with you and watching the destruction of the Republic, watching ships full of soldiers and Jedi burn and die. I remember the look you had when you turned to me. It was the longest you'd ever looked at me. You didn't say anything, just a nod. Events moved quickly then, even in my dreams. Flashes, explosions, you falling. I could feel the pain around me. And then the memory. The drifting hulks of the Mandalorian ships, the dead, allies, friends, strangers. And then the echo, lingering, the sound I awakened to in my nightmares.
Jeez. It was horrific what they ended up doing there. My decision haunts me too.
Blame lies with me for creating it. The situation forced your hand. Anger forced mine.
If you are to blame for its creation, then I am equally to blame for commanding its use.
You realize that unless action was taken, the fleet would be destroyed and the Republic would fall. None of us realized the magnitude of what we unleashed.
So he made a super weapon. We needed to use it, but like an atomic bomb, it was way worse than we thought.
War effort. Yes, I worked
Why
as
are
a
they in
technician
Krea's
there.
room?
But you fought on the front lines. To a Mandalorian, there is honor in that.
I could do without your Mandalorian honor. I saw the results of your honor, the absolute destruction your warriors brought. And look at them now. Mandalorians are little better than mercenary thugs. And what's honor to someone like that? All they care about are credits.
If I were you, I'd pick your words more carefully.
Let's not dwell on the past. We need to work together.
You fought for no cause other than to spread suffering and pain to the people you conquered.
Maybe that's what it looked like to you, but that isn't why we fought. We fought for honor and glory in the heat of battle.
You did nothing but murder innocents.
The Republic took us too lightly. We wanted to face the full force of their army. We had to goad them to fight.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. If you ask me, you Mandalorians just got what you deserved at Malachor.
Defeat is part of a warrior's life. We will recover, stronger than before.
Doesn't it even bother you that your people were almost destroyed? Or do lives have no meaning to you?
People die in war.
Well, I'm glad to have you guarding my back.
That's enough. This conversation is over.
Fine by me. Yeah, what do you want?
Let's see. How did you become Mandalore?
Being Mandalore is the greatest honor for our people. Mandalore's helmet is passed from one leader to the next. When Revan executed Mandalore before our eyes, he cast Mandalore's helmet away, denied it to us. He took Mandalore's helmet and left with it. If he hadn't done that, the new Mandalore would have been chosen that day, but without leadership and direction. The clans scattered, fell apart.
He knew how to destroy them. Instead, in the modern play, in like the shows that we've seen, the equivalent of that is in the modern day was when people took the Darksaber from the Mandalorians. It kind of denied them the rallying position because, like, if they destroyed the Darksaber, then the Mandalorians would have just been like, all right, let's figure something else out. But they knew it was out there, and it had just been taken from them. And so, like, they couldn't let that go. How did you find the helmet?
During the Jedi Civil War, I met and traveled with Revan. I was there with him when he defeated Darth Malak, and traveled with him afterwards. Eventually, he told me where he had taken the helmet. He set me upon this path. We can talk about Revan and other things later, if you like. You know enough for now. Now, was there something else you needed?
I kind of want to try.
Yes? Have you come with questions?
Yes, I need some answers.
Ask, and I will answer.
Did you know Revan?
Perhaps.
Yes!
I think it is fair to say that few did.
Where did Revan come from?
Revan had a mother and father, parents, ancestors, like all Jedi do. And when he awakened to his potential, I was there to see it. But where he was born, where he came from, I do not know, any more than I know where he walks now. Some said that Revan was born in the outer regions, beyond the Rim, and that's what called to him during the Mandalorian Wars. And after, it was the call of home.
What else did you know of Revan?
I know more, but it may not be enough for the answers you seek.
What caused Revan to fall, to turn on the Republic?
Fall? Already you presume much. You were there at Malachor. Revan's choices were always his own. It was not teaching or circumstance or example, it was him.
Then what made him turn to the dark side to become a Sith Lord?
Is that what he was? Or was he always true to himself, no matter what personality he wore? And
well, Kelly the Bid was definitely a piece of work.
That perhaps Revan never fell. The difference between a fall and a sacrifice is sometimes difficult, but I feel that Revan understood that difference more than anyone knew. The galaxy would have fallen if Revan had not gone to war. Perhaps he became the Dark Lord out of necessity, to prevent a greater evil. I do not believe the Jedi Council changed Revan, as they claimed. They merely stripped away the surface and allowed the true self to emerge again, someone who was willing to wage war to save others. But that is my belief, since I knew Revan from long ago, as a master knows their apprentice.
So, the truth of the matter is that it's kind of right and kind of wrong. Krayt is actually a little mistaken here. It is in his nature to do what it takes to find a victory, and he could see the through line. He understood that sacrifices meant greater victory as long as they were calculated correctly, were worthwhile. But what actually happened is that he was drawn out by a kind of like force beacon in a way to the outer reaches when he was pursuing like secrets of the Force. And he ended up encountering what is the true Sith Empire. And the Emperor out there, who's an incredibly powerful Sith, actually kind of didn't brainwash him, but kind of used this kind of force conversion technique that he and Malik used on other Jedi to kind of break them and kind of turn them to the dark side. But even in that case, it was pretty clear that Revan, while he was fighting the Republic out of almost like an impulse, he was doing so in a way, remember how he preserved worlds, he never like just wantonly destroyed, he tried to turn them around and prepare them for maybe some future conflict where in the back of his mind, even though he was kind of being puppeted by an outside force, he knew that outside force needed to be defeated, and the Star Forge was likely the key, so if he could like just take away the bureaucracy of the Republic, turn everything back under his control, he could then turn the might of the galaxy and a Star Forge against that threat that he knew's out there. You trained him.
He came to me, yes, both before and after, before Revan knew himself. And after, in the times when Revan was coming to his own and learning he was more than he had been told. At one time, Revan was my Padawan, in times past, long ago. But Revan, when he had learned all he could, had other masters, that fool Jar and other Jedi on other planets. He learned from each, but in the end, he turned back to me. When he realized there was nothing more to be learned from the Jedi except how one could leave them forever.
What was Revan like as a student?
Revan was power. It was like staring into the heart of the Force. Even then you could see the Jedi he would slay etched on his soul.
What do you see when you look at me?
You are different. When I look at you, it is like staring at the death of the Force.
Okay. There we go. That was a good, productive conversation. Only a few other people to try talking to, and then we'll be ready to get out of here.
Statement. Master, if you could indulge me for a moment,
Uh-oh.
I must express some degree of irritation at your actions. Perhaps my anticipation of working with one who served at Malachor 5 was too high, but you are countering all those expectations.
And how's that?
Statement. Well, all your behavior up to this point suggests either strong atonement or confirmation that the atrocities attributed to you during the war were in fact accidents.
They weren't accidents. I did them on purpose and would do them again gladly. Why do you want to know?
Answer. Why? Because your actions then and now are related, and I feel I need some context. I confess to being somewhat needy that way.
What do you mean?
Statement. Sometimes, Master, it is difficult for meatbags to step back and gain some perspective on death and its importance in their insignificant lives. Explanation. You see, Master, assassination is such a versatile tool. I have seen the removal of a single target have far-reaching consequences for a nation, world, even a galaxy. The repercussions of even the smallest lives, whether dead or alive, can have profound implications on history. But surely you realize this.
It's kind of funny because that's the same exact argument that the Jedi used to talk about preserving life, but he talks about it as destroying life. The other side, it's almost like same side, like the same coin, but from different sides. That's very human perspective.
Statement. Master, please, any comparisons between me and your meatbag status leaves a fluctuating, intermittent charge through my control clusters. I was only trying to bring death and its impact to your attention.
How is that?
Statement. Why your own life, Master? Your single life changed the face of the galaxy, of history itself. Malachor 5 was an impressive act of destruction, but its impact on the lives of others in the galaxy was far more extreme. I mean, Master, you brought about the death of the Mandalorian race. I doubt they realize it yet, but you dealt them a blow from which they will never recover.
I hate saying this, but they kind of deserved it. They were ripping us to pieces.
Statement. Oh, Master, who deserved what and why is of no consequence. It is only killing a target and how it is done that matters.
Darn it. Influence gained, but dark side points. I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, it's shifting further down. I need to get more light side if I want to get to the peak. It's like, if I'm not at the peak, I actually lose a significant bonus. So I really want to get that back up there. All right, well, there's another end to another good episode. We're going to be here. So next we go to Duxon. We find out all the chaos that's going on and going to be happening there. And we're getting close to the end. So like, unfortunately, I have lost the pure light side bonuses I got from playing the role of the character of Joan of Arc Light, and that's unfortunately the case because the games back then with BioWare were super polarized. So like, I hope I can get that back, but again, I'm not going to sacrifice the decisions. Like, I'm playing as the role for Joan of Arc Light, and that's kind of her role. It's like, she doesn't regret the choices she makes, but she feels that the consequences are so severe, she feels bad about them. She can't choose the consequences, but she made her decisions and she doesn't regret them because at the time she does trust that she did what she had to do and that there was no other options. So yeah, we're going to try and see if I can get that like approval up. I think there's some opportunities to make some good choices in the near future, but we're pretty much getting to the end of the game. So I might have to say goodbye to that +3 wisdom for the rest of the game, sadly. So, oh well. We'll get to that when we get to it. Thankfully, we'll be together for that, and I'm looking forward to next week. I'd say we have maybe 2 or 3 episodes left. No, maybe 4. It depends, but I'm pretty sure we're in the final stretch now. Like, we're in the beginning of the end game. Essentially, we're gonna have Duxon, and then we're gonna have like a kind of a split-off mission. Then after we're done with that, we're going to go to meet with all the Jedi that we found, and then we launch ourselves into the grand finale. So we'll see how that all plays out. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel and being able to be a part of this journey with me. It's been a wonderful experience, and I look forward to sharing even more with you in the future. So until the next video watching me, if you see me next, I'll see you there.